What's up, guys? Dead Talk here, and lately I've been thinking, with everything going on in the world, we always find ourselves taking the moments we once had for granted. Someone once told me that I wish there was a way we could tell we were in the good old days before we actually left them. And with that in mind, I've been contemplating what it is that I want to do with my life at this very moment. To be honest with you guys, I'd say I don't know. I've been meaning to get away from this normal routine of being so attached to my screens and just enjoy what this world has to offer. With that being said, I've been looking into truck camping videos and found a lot of really cool people that are on this journey, one of which goes by the name of Zach Horowitz. Marcos and I were able to come into contact with him, and we had the wonderful opportunity of interviewing him. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's dope.
So for starters, where are you at right now, currently?
I'm currently in Washington. So I actually just got back from Alaska last night, which was my 42nd state. And yeah, so I don't know if you guys know or not, but the goal of this journey is, of course, to have amazing experiences, but I want to hit all 50 states in 2020. So I just got back from Alaska, and I'm currently in Washington.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Because we're located
That's
in
where we're
Seattle.
at. We're in Seattle,
Yeah.
Washington.
Oh, really? No way.
Yeah, which is sick.
So you said your goal is to travel to all 50 states, right? Which states have you been to so far? And then which one was your favorite?
I mean, do you guys want me to go through like the exact path that I took? I could.
That's
sure.
what. For sure.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I'm from Indiana. So I started in Indiana, and from Indy, I made my way south through Bloomington, which is where I went to college at Indiana University. I've made my way into Colorado, which, to answer your second question, Colorado was one of my favorite states. I mean, not only is there so much to see, but in the 2 weeks that I was there, I just saw some amazing things. I mean, the Rockies were fantastic. If you haven't seen them in real life, I mean, it's just, me telling you they're amazing just doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to see it if you get the chance. And especially for me from being, from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Just the height of the Rocky. It's just crazy to see in person. But and then also the great sand dunes in Colorado were pretty fantastic. But from Colorado, I went south into New Mexico. From New Mexico, I went all the way east into Florida, going through, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, all the way into Florida. I was heading up the East Coast when COVID hit, but I saw everything in the Northeast. I made my way through upstate New York, down through, Pennsylvania, Cincinnati, Tennessee, Kentucky. And then to finish off my first leg, I ended back in Indy. Then I started the second leg of my journey on July 1st. I made my way up through Chicago, went into Michigan, Pictured Rocks National Lake Shore, I believe it's called, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Was unbelievable. Another one of my favorites. And then from there, I made my way through North Dakota, then into South Dakota and Southwest Dakota. A lot of good stuff there. You got Mount Rushmore, the Badlands, Wind Cave National Park, Custer State Park was unbelievable. And then what have I done from there? I guess a lot. From there, I went through Wyoming, through Devil's Tower. Went to Yellowstone. I actually just made my thumbnail for that video. But and then from Yellowstone I went through Montana up into northern Montana to Glacier National Park, which, guys, I just can't even explain the beauty of our world. I mean, it's crazy.
Dude, that journey sounds insane.
I eventually want to do it. Like, I want to go on an adventure. So
has COVID changed like any part of your journey at all since starting, and have you altered the way you've taken the course of your journey since then?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I don't think any person living right now could tell you that their life or plans have not been altered by
right.
I mean, it's changed every aspect of how we live as humanity. But for me, I don't know if you caught it before, but when I was headed up the East Coast, I actually quarantined with my family in Massachusetts, which is actually where I'm originally from. So I stayed with my uncle for 70 days. So for 10 weeks, I just lived with him. And yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful opportunity to be with my family for an extended period of time. But yeah, I mean, when you set out to travel the country, it definitely wasn't a part of the plan to be there for that long.
Yeah.
Right.
But you do what you can, and as soon as things started to open back up, I left. And actually, the first week leaving from Massachusetts, I didn't get a shower for like a week and a half. But
Oh man.
you know, you do what you can. You got to make sacrifices to see the world. So
Yeah, for sure. One thing I wanted to know, I know you've explained it in a video, but for like the people that don't know, so how much did it cost to afford this whole lifestyle that you've been on, and how did you go about affording it financially?
definitely, yeah, that's a great question. So what I'll say to preface this question, or to preface my answer, is that it's not as expensive as you would think it is. Of course, having a vehicle is, and I'm pointing that way because my
Your
truck's
truck's right
like
there. Yeah.
But of course, with the vehicle, the cost of the vehicle out of the way, you know, like if you have your own vehicle, then that's obviously not included. If you don't have a vehicle, I mean, I guess you could make it work by leasing a vehicle, but for me, I already had my vehicle, so the only cost I have is the cost of living and the cost of travel. So basically, for me, I have, and I guess I really haven't done a video on this, and maybe I could because it's a really good question. The expenses that I have are gas, which is basically rent. You know, that's how I get everywhere, and because I'm sleeping in my car, I don't have any rent. So gas, food, which you need regardless.
Yeah, that's.
And then I have
necessity.
Definitely a necessity, yeah. And then I have my car insurance, and then Planet Fitness, which we can get into that if you want later. But Planet Fitness, it's just $25 a month. I get, you know, thousands of locations around the country, and it's a place to shower, a place to park, nice place for Wi-Fi, and a place to work out. So
Wow, yeah,
checks a lot
really
of
good.
boxes.
That's not bad.
So you did talk about like the societal pressure and your parental figures. Was there a lot of like backlash or even just like constraints that were holding you back at first between your family and your friends, just everything going on in the world?
Well, okay, so my journey started in January 1st of 2020, and we'll rewind 6 months prior to that when I graduated college in May of 2019. I have been fortunate enough to have, you know, a lot of support systems, whether it be my family, my friends, just other people I've come to know. I have a lot of support. I think that's very important when you want to follow your dreams, is that you have support. And I've been very fortunate to have that. So I'll start by saying that I didn't really feel a lot of, well, okay, so support groups, very important. I want to say I didn't feel a lot of pressure from my parents, but I think that's just because of how much I pushed to follow my dreams, right? The pressure, though, was definitely there, right? Like the societal pressure, the parental pressure, it exists. It's whether you think it's there or not, just with the way we have progressed as a humanity and the way society has progressed, all of those things exist, whether you believe them to or not. It's just a matter of whether you choose to succumb to those pressures. Of course, there's nothing wrong with getting a job. There's something very noble about coming out of college and starting your career. Of course, if you have no interest in traveling or seeing the world or doing anything else, you know, of course, there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I just couldn't turn away. Yeah, I couldn't resist from carrying out and satisfying my curiosities. So that's ultimately why I decided to travel the country. But to answer your question, the parental pressures, the societal pressures exist. I guess I just chose to ignore them.
That's cool. Yeah,
nice. I actually want to start truck camping, or eventually. I don't have a vehicle yet, but I'm like bouncing around ideas on what first vehicle I would get. What would
you want to buy one?
That's why I asked you that follow-up question. I'm thinking I'll think about it, but I don't have a super tight budget, but it's not super loose. But like I would say, what would you recommend, a truck, a SUV, or like what tips or recommendations would you give to someone who wants to start this all?
That's a great question, and a lot of my buddies have been reaching out to me recently, like, "Hey, I'm trying to live in a van. Where do I start?"
Yeah.
And it's funny because like not only am I not living in a van, but honestly, I know as much as you do, or as those people
Yeah.
asking that question, right? Um, my piece of advice would just be to start, right? Like if there's anything you want to do, you just have to go after it head on. But I don't know, look online, try to find a vehicle that suits your needs. For me, this vehicle was pretty much exactly what I wanted. I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but this truck and my living setup now was pretty much Plan B. Are you guys aware of that?
No.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, so I don't know how far back in my channel you guys have gone, but after graduating college in May of 2019, I drove down to Virginia from Indiana and I purchased a 1975 Airstream. So that was the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. So this wasn't my first.
Your first vehicle.
My first vehicle, my first take at it. I mean, granted, I was towing the Airstream with this truck, but you know, you could sit behind the computer looking for the right vehicle all day long. I don't want to say jump the gun on things, but if you just sit around and wait until the perfect vehicle comes around, you're never going to find it, you know? Mm-hmm. So you got to find something that is going to suffice and that's going to work for you for the time being, but definitely don't let yourself, don't hold yourself back from growth. Right, and realizing that there could be something better, because I thought the Airstream was it, and I'm the type of person who hates quitting on projects. So when I unfortunately couldn't finish the project and had to sell the Airstream off, mm-hmm. It hurt a lot. But I, kept my head down, kept moving forward, and built out the back of my truck space here. Ordered the topper, and I was off. And now it's over 6 months later, and I only have 8 states left. So.
That's amazing.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
I have a follow-up. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, wait. So let me finish answering that question by saying paralysis by analysis can definitely hurt. So just making a decision and going with it and doing everything you can to put yourself in the best situation to succeed ultimately is not going to fail you in the long run.
How much of electronics was a part of your life, and was that like a part of, do you miss out on like the whole electronic life that like society has kind of come about, or are you just more of like the outdoors type of person? You're just fine with just living on the road the whole time?
That's a good question. That's such a deep question that I think a lot of people I don't know that a lot of people would give you a truthful answer on that. I'm going to give you as truthful as an answer as I possibly can. When I have internet connection, I would say I'm very addicted to my phone. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are in that situation.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. Hopefully in the coming weeks or years or whatever it may be, whenever I decide ultimately that I want to make a change, hopefully I'll be able to reduce my screen time. But a lot of us suffer from hours and hours of screen time every single day. But when I'm in nature, when I'm in national parks without any internet connection, it's so amazing to just turn your phone on airplane mode and only have a camera,
Yeah, for sure.
I think I have a hard time not documenting things sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's such a hard line to walk. It's like, how much of this do I want to document? How much do I not? Like, is documenting this taking away from the quality of my experience?
Yeah.
Is it not?
Actually enjoying the moment.
Exactly. And it's so hard, but I like doing it. I don't think it takes that much away from the experience. And the beauty of it is I get to share my experiences with other people.
Mhm.
And I think the ultimate payoff is going to be years down the line, 50, 60 years of age, when I get to look back and watch these experiences that the ones that I didn't save up here and the ones that I'm able to be
Share.
like, oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
Wow,
Yeah.
that was amazing. And maybe my kids and grandkids will be able to see it as well. So
that'd be
And that would
amazing.
be really cool to share too.
Yeah.
It was nice talking to you, man. I really enjoyed this interview. You had a lot of great stories to tell, and it was actually really inspiring. Like it made me want to just go out there and just start going for it, whenever I have second thoughts on things.
absolutely, yeah. And I will say real quick, just on that note, while we're on that note, I think one of the scariest things that people think about all the time is failure, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
do this because I'm going to fail. I don't want to take this jump because perhaps I won't succeed. Um, I think that is something everybody experiences, something everybody goes through, but ultimately failing, right? Like
Yeah.
failing over and over and over again is ultimately what's going to allow us to
Succeed.
find out what it is. Yeah. But even more than that, not just succeeding, but finding out like what it is that we want to do with our lives, finding out like how much we can actually push ourselves to accomplish our goals and help other people accomplish their goals, right? And it all starts with putting yourself in a situation that's going to push you so far that you are going to fail, right? Like my Airstream thing was I bit off way more than I could chew,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But look what it's led to, like
Yeah.
if this is a failure, I'm okay with that, right? So yeah, I couldn't help but to include that after what you just said, Marcos.
No, that was perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's been a great interview, Zach. Thank you again for allowing us to interview you. Hopefully, you can inspire more people. And yeah, I think we're good. Leave it on that note.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks,
so
guys.
much.
Safe travels,
All
Zach.
right.
Thank you so much.
Good luck on your journey, dude.
Thank you. You guys too. All the best.
We'll keep
All
in
right.
touch.
See ya.
So, what do you guys think? Should I do it?